Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful day, at least for the moment here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So thanks for joining. My name is Adrian Weidmann. I am the president and CEO founder of Immersive Design Labs. So over the next 20-25 minutes, I'm going to share the insights behind an immersive recording project we did back in January 25th as part of the NAMM show out in Los Angeles. Immersive Design Labs, we're developing products and services to optimize and validate the measurement, recording, delivery, and playback of immersive audio experiences. And we want to focus on the creative side, on the musicians creating the music and the essence of their music. And as a subcurrent, we certainly want to embrace the studio acoustics in these various recording environments as an active element of the music performance. As some of you may or may not know, my background, I introduced the original Brüel & Kjær studio mics back in the 80s, and I had the pleasure and honor of sharing some time with Bruce Swedien. And I have a collection of these various quotes of icons in the business, and this is one of my favorites that I think sets the tone for Immersive Design Labs. And this was a quote, "A groove is a groove and nobody dances to tape hiss." This was Bruce's insight during an interview. At the time of this quote, it was a question of analog recording moving to digital recording. And this was his response. And I think a very similar thing applies here as we look at the emergence and the popularity of immersive recording, not only as listening, but now as a question of how do we record these experiences. The session we did was at EastWest Studio out in Los Angeles, a very iconic room, Studio One, and the artist was Willy Porter. His ensemble, Willy Porter, exceptional acoustic guitar player, Carmen Nickerson, a vocalist, Ryan Pearl, guitarist, and Mai Bloomfield is a cellist and vocalist, and her band is in LA. They're called Raining Jane, and they have been the backup band for Jason Mraz for over 15 years. Just a quick sidebar. If any of you are interested, Willy and Mai, we did a webinar a week ago and got their impressions of exactly the same recording that we're going to walk through, where today we'll focus on the technical end of things. But I encourage you to go to the website and register, get the webinar on demand, and get Willy and Mai's perspective from the musician's point of reference. The next set of images are during setup. One of the things that we did, and tip of the hat to former Brüel & Kjær colleague, Mark Sarich, he came down in that speaker orb that you see. He came to the session early and did some reverb time measurements in Studio One. Again, this was the famous Frank Sinatra studio, and certainly it was fun to be in that space and reminisce and think about those challenges and those sessions way back when, where they were doing really immersive live to multi-track recordings. So Mark came in and did a reverb time measurement. That's a loudspeaker that allows you to put a big pink noise pulse in the room. This was one of the reports that Mark generated. This shows you in the upper right there, you can see in the smaller scale, you can see where the drop off happens. That's the pulse, and the RT60 measurement is when that level goes from 0 on the dB scale down to -60. And over a range of frequencies, that room had a reverb time of around 0.6 seconds from 100 hertz up to 4K hertz. So it's a good reference point, quite a dry room. This was the setup. The session was engineered by Matt Wallace and Will Kennedy. As you can see, as we're setting up, a couple things I want to point out is obviously the array, the immersive recording array that we put out there, is this spider. You can see it's configured as a 7.0.4 array. That is to say, you have the Dolby, we match the Dolby array layout, left, center, right, left and right, mid surround, left and right, rear surround, and then the 4 elevation microphones you can see. I just want to point out as we move forward, you'll notice Willy, and Ryan, they all had effects pedals. And that's noteworthy as we move forward. Just like the last slide, I want to show, bring your attention to those 2 QSC powered wedges on the floor just to the left and right of Matt standing there. And just to give you a sense, we started at 10 o'clock in the morning. We really didn't start recording probably till 2 in the afternoon, just spending time listening, positioning the musicians, the microphones relative to the musicians relevant to each other, because what we're doing here is essentially a live recording and really letting the musicians effectively mix themselves. Another angle, you can see we moved gobos around, and we found very quickly into this experience that we basically got rid of the gobos, and it really affected the musicians' ability to hear each other. It literally created a further dead space, and they ended up having difficulty hearing themselves. So we actually opened up and moved the gobos back. You can see here on your left. Another angle as we started, you can see we're dialing things in here over the course of several hours. And as I'm walking through this, please, if there are any questions, put them into the Q&A or section of the sidebar, and we can certainly address those questions as we move forward. A more of an elevation shot. I want to point out the wedges. There is a wedge behind Willy. Willy's the guitarist to your left at the top of the array. There is a QSC powered wedge behind him. There's a powered wedge just to the just underneath Carmen and in front of Ryan. And then there's 2 more powered wedges on the floor underneath the left and rear microphones off the array. So here's the setup, pretty much as we ended up with it. I'm gonna walk through, and this points out, you can see I just wanted to point out where the array is, where as it relates to the positioning of the artist and their instruments. And here are the microphones. Now, I want to point this out because this was a tip of the hat to Matt Wallace. He came up with this idea, and it really was phenomenal. As I noted to you earlier, each of the acoustic instruments, both guitars and mandolin that Ryan had, and Mai's cello, they all went into their effects boards, effects pedals. The sends off of those effects pedals, if we start in the middle with Willy, his effects went to the powered QC monitor behind him on the floor. The Ryan's effects pedal, the wet effect was sent to the powered wedge in the left rear speaker that QSC powered. Conversely, Mai's cello, her effects, went to the right rear. So that was sonically. So the idea here is you have the instruments, the acoustic instruments being picked up by the associated, and vocals picked up by those 7 microphones on the surround. And you have the elevation, 4 elevation onto the into the ceiling, if you will. And then those left and rear microphones were picking up the wet signals coming off of those powered wedges. So this is another angle. It's sort of the schematic of that same setup. You can see, what do I want to add to this? Pretty much what I described. I will point out the recording itself was, I would say, 90+% nothing but the array. We did place a C12 in front of Mai and her cello, and then we had a pair KM54s on those powered wedges. That powered wedge for Ryan in front of him, that was the clean signal. The effects went to the rear left, and Willy's effect, he used it specifically on his guitar. That wedge was in the final mix of the session. He used that wedge, the low frequency of his guitar, the way he played, the way he used the instrument. That signal effectively went to the effect, the low frequency effect channel in the Atmos mix. Now, what was happening? So you got a sense of what we set up in the studio for the recording aspect of this. So you see the array. Those are the different microphone model numbers. 3561 is a 1/2 inch microphone. 3562 is a 1 inch microphone. And in the control room, Cali Audio was wonderful. They came in and set up their 7.2.4 array with the Cali Audio loudspeakers. And what we played and the way it was matrixed was each one of those mics went to the associated loudspeaker in the surround Atmos array. I tried to code it, do some color coding there to help you out. There was no Dolby Atmos rendering whatsoever. It was strictly a 1-to-1 relationship from microphone to the loudspeaker. So there's a close-up of one of the mics. And another key thing, key element of this setup, again, this goes back to my early years with Brühl and Kerr and the test and measurement world. After we set up, positioned all the microphones, we calibrated the signal path. So what does that mean? This happens to be, it's a Brühl and Kerr, it's an old 4230 calibrator. And what that does is it puts precisely 94 dB, a 1 kilohertz tone at the diaphragm of the microphone, which what allows you to do is once we did that, we could then in the control room, in the Pro Tools, we could set our input so every microphone's output was seen exactly the same to the recorder. Very, very critical aspect of the approach, and the results, the phenomenal results that we got. This is a key element of that process, is that we were able to absolutely calibrate each microphone. No EQ. We went through the Neve console and we just set the signal chain through the Neve console, mic pre, directly into the Pro Tools device. no EQ. Once we set that signal path and was able to set the full scale setting, I think we were on this session, we did -18 as a full scale into the Pro Tools device, and we left it alone. We did not touch any fader at that point. So that was a very important element in the process. We started listening to some playback, and I captured these images. We thought it was phenomenal. I think we went into this session, as I like to say, a little bit over our ski tips, in the sense we didn't know what to expect. But between the engineers and the musicians, it ended up being a phenomenal session, and everybody was truly excited about the results. This is another angle. I just highlighted here some of the Cali loudspeaker setups. You can see the 2 out of the 3 that were on the meter bridge. You can see one of the elevation speakers in the back there. This was again, we were listening, and the way we did this was we recorded throughout the day, and then in the evening we did a showcase, and people were able to register and come in and see the session and hear the session. Again, I've taken the opportunity here to show you with those circles. You can see where the right surround speaker was located, and once again those elevation monitors. One of the songs from the session, it's called "A Dog and a Leash," and they just finished a couple weeks ago. Finished the final mixes. Matt and Will did, and those will be available as a binaural listening on our website. So I'd encourage you to come back to the website. We're hoping to get that up by next week. A little plug for the mics. This shows you, this is the 1/2-inch microphone. It's a 1/2-inch, 300-volt pre-polarized condenser, full titanium diaphragm. The actual microphone housings are also titanium, so it makes them nice and light. We wanted a nice complement to the array. You can imagine we have 11 microphones on this array, and we wanted to make sure that they were nice and light. The array itself is made out of carbon fiber, so that's also keeping it nice and light. Sensitivity of these microphones, 40 millivolts per Pascal for the 1/2-inch, self noise 16. You can see the frequency range, and we're offering essentially a matched pair, as you see here, for $9.95. And the other model currently is the 1-inch model, same technology, if you will, 300-volt pre-polarized. This has a sensitivity of 80 millivolts per Pascal. That pair, as shown, again, we're offering that through the website at just under $1,500 for the pair. So that's the session. Again, if you have questions, please put them in, and we can address that. We do have, just so that you know, we have a number of events coming up. We'll be in Nashville May 16th. We'll be sponsoring the very popular Audio Masters benefit golf tournament in Nashville, and so we will be there. The following day, that's Saturday the 17th, if I get that right, yep. We will be involved in a sponsor in the Mix Immersive Music Production workshop. Also on Music Row, we'll be playing some of these songs from this session. And something to, if you have an interest, if you're in and around the Nashville area, we have booked Oceanway Studio for June 12th, and we're going to continue the Willy Porter sessions on that Thursday. So we'll do the same thing that we did in Los Angeles. You can register through the website, The sessions in LA went so well. Willy, we're now putting together a record that hopefully between what we did in Los Angeles and what we'll do in Nashville on the 12th will turn into a full immersive Dolby Atmos release. We're all very excited about it and anxious to have people listen to the results. Well, it looks like we've got some questions. Hang on. So I think we talked, there's a question here on what other mics. During the session, as I pointed out, there was a C12 on my. We wanted to, between the cello and her vocal, we added that. And then there were two KM84s, one on the powered wedge for Willy for the low frequency, for that LFE channel, and then on the dry effect, we had it on Ryan's guitar. I don't know if that actually, I don't think we used that in the final mix. So it was mainly the 11 microphones, and again, just one-to-one relationship into the loudspeaker. Question here, did we measure and calibrate the Neves pre-gained and the spectrum response? We did not. We started, we loaded in at 10 a.m. and the folks from Calais came in, and it took them, I would say, about 2 to 3 hours to calibrate that Atmos playback array. So that was a large part of the setup. I was waiting for that calibration to occur. The only calibration we did, is, as I described earlier, is from the microphone into the workstation. Any other questions? Yeah, here's a question. I'm going to answer this question a couple of different ways. The question is, how does this method of immersive recording accelerate time to market? There's two sides of the same coin here. I can tell you that Willy and this ensemble rehearsed a lot. They prepared, they started rehearsing 7 songs, I would say in November, December, and obviously through most of January. So there were quite a bit of sessions, quite a bit of arranging and work sessions. 2 days before the session, they all came together out in Los Angeles and spent 2 full days at a Airbnb and rehearsed. So they were very well rehearsed on 7 songs. We recorded from, I would say, started the actual recording around somewhere between around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and effectively finished the recordings by around 6 o'clock, because we had the showcase. I think people started coming in for the showcase at around 7 p.m. The net was that we were able to, out of those 7 songs that were recorded, there are 5, let's call them keepers, that have been fully mixed and ready to be released. So it's pretty amazing. Again, I would say, versus a conventional tracking, yeah, it's going to go quicker, but they did all the rehearsing and all the preparation in advance of the session. If you have any questions, drop them in. We got a couple minutes left. I encourage you to go to the website, and like I say, we've got Willy and Mai's perspective that they shared a week ago. And if you're interested in this technique, I would encourage you to listen to their comments, because it really did, it changed their attitude and it changed their mindset on how they wanted to present and record their music moving forward. I know Willy I just spoke with him yesterday. He is literally writing new material specifically for this technique based on what he heard and experienced. So we're excited to, we had EastWest Studio, which is obviously an iconic room, and now we'll be going to Ocean Way, which is, again, an iconic room, but we'll certainly have a different acoustic print, if you will, certainly different reverb time. So we're excited to, again, lean into those acoustic environments and capture the music and leverage these acoustic spaces in the way they were designed, and hopefully the musicians use it as part of the emotional context that they put these songs into. So we don't have any other questions, so I'm gonna give you back a few minutes of your day, and thank you so much for attending. I hope, feel free to contact us. I am putting together a demo of the a demo kit, rental/demo kit of the full array. I've already gotten some phone calls, so hopefully that will be available into May here in Nashville. So please keep us in mind, and thank you for attending. Hope you got something out of it. We certainly enjoyed doing the recording, and the results were exciting for all. So thank you again, and have a good day. Bye now.
It's merely a dream. Dream.